Welcome back to this special one-hour edition of The List. We've already heard our panelists' third choices for greatest moments in rock, and now it's time to hear from the great unwashed masses. Let's check out your email. Dear Weird Al, the greatest moment in rock history was when all the artists came together and performed Feed the World. I love the fact that so many talented artists... I love the fact that so many talented artists from Bono to Duran Duran came together for such a great cause. And that's from Jennifer. You know, that was a great moment because,
I would have to agree. There was something very important about that. When that was formed, Bob Geldof formed Band Aid, and that set a whole trend for all of these charitable acts in rock and roll, Live Aid, Fashion Aid, Band Aid. And if you're going to set a trend, I mean, that's a pretty good trend to set. It's like, boy toy or acts of humanity.
Yeah.
You know, that's a pretty good trend
But did
to
it really help? Did the money really get there? What happened?
Yeah, where did the money go, Martha?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to call Bob Geldof and I'm going to find out. But the point is, don't you think that that's a good, don't you think that that's a good
what if they were just doing it
inspiration?
for publicity?
Yeah, the concept is good in theory.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
That's right. We shouldn't do anything then. We should just sit on our asses because otherwise nothing's. If we can't help, we should just do our own music and let the rest of the world not help either.
you know, I'm just glad that they finally put an end to world hunger once and for all.
That's true.
all I worry.
But you know, Al, I think Stephen is right. But you know, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what happened. I'm not up on the finances of what happened with the whole Band Aid project. But I know that the effort was there and the heart was there and a lot of effort was put out.
But didn't
and I
it
don't think you
also
can
become
discount
like
that.
the most corporate rock has ever become, like because of that whole thing? It's like everybody was tied into all this stuff, and it was really the giant popularity contest. It's like only if you're the mega popular person would you have any effect on anything.
But if you look at it from Bob Geldof's point of view, he certainly wasn't the most mega popular musician even in England at the time. He was just a guy who wanted to help, and he had enough connections to try and pull it off. Maybe it raised consciousness for 5 minutes. Maybe it didn't raise any money, which is a shame. But at the same time, I think it's a great example for musicians.
You know, it's like when John Lennon put up those posters
in
in Times Square saying, "War is over if you want it." Obviously, he didn't end war, but to have that message out there is is positive.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to our second email.
No, I have more to say on this one.
Well, Dear Al, I'm an 80s junkie, so the greatest moment in rock history for me was the launch of MTV.
Okay, I got nothing to say about that.
So many bands and artists have gotten exposure through the music channels MTV Rocks, and that's from Tom. I think it's from Tom Freston, the head of the MTV network. Well, he's entitled to his opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, there would be no Madonna without MTV.
I totally disagree.
Oh, get over it!
Madonna-
Oh, hell up! Get into the groove. Oh, you got to prove your thing to me.
Madonna had her
Oh
artistic...
no! Let's amplify our voice 12 million times.
Madonna had her artistic desire, and she would have risen to the top of the artistic heap, whether MTV was around or not.
Yeah, she was like the Mother Teresa.
I don't understand. What? How does that? I don't understand.
No, I'm just saying that, you know, it has a lot. MTV is visual.
Yeah, it's
If you're a great visual artist, which she is, that's how. How do we know? I mean, her voice. How do we know?
I'm from Canada. We still don't have MTV in Canada.
Did you like much
I know.
music?
But it didn't start airing until 1984. But I still knew. When I'd come down to the U.S., it was so exciting to be able to turn on the TV in a motel room and see Der Kommissar over and over and over again. I hope they play Der Kommissar next. I love Falco and After the Fire, both versions. And it was a real exciting moment as a Canadian kid growing up.
Well, I'm happy just to be in a motel.
Yeah, MTV, it's a double-edged sword because it made people watch music instead of listen to music, so the interpretation of music really changed at that point. It also gave you a lot of access to musicians in a way that no other medium ever had. I mean, prior to that, you would have to imagine what musicians were like that you liked their music and followed their careers. But then suddenly you could see interviews and they were on all the time. So it's good and bad in a lot of ways.
They did a lot of great interviews in those early days. What was that girl's name? She was really good.
Nina Blackwood, I think.
Yeah, she did great. She was great.
I could just talk about MTV all day long, but it's time to get to our guests' second choices Martha, what's your pick?
Well, it's my friend Dweezil Zappa picked multi-track recording as evidenced by Sgt. Pepper's as his third choice. My second choice was also influenced by the inventor of multi-track recording, which was Les Paul, who also invented the solid body electric guitar. And the reason why that is so important, there he is because with a solid body electric guitar, you didn't have to worry about distortion and feedback, and you could turn it up loud. Without the solid body electric guitar, we wouldn't have Jimi Hendrix in his Stratocaster, we wouldn't have Jimmy Page in his Les Paul, we wouldn't have Dweezil in his green guitar. What's that green guitar
That
you
was a
play?
Charvel.
There you go. Wouldn't have that.
Yeah,
So
immediately
that's-
made the coal-burning guitar obsolete. That was clunky old thing. And his music lives on in RuPaul today, so that's also good to know. Stephen, what's your second choice?
Well, in the spirit of the greatest moments in rock, making people angry and changing everything for the better, at the Newport Folk Festival in 1965, Bob Dylan went out on stage, and instead of playing with the acoustic guitar blowing in the wind, he played loud, carnal rock and roll people, and the world has never been the same. Bob Dylan going electric.
That was very controversial, Dylan going electric. Personally, I think that anybody that uses electricity in their music is kind of a poser. I think the Amish are the only true artists.
I think you're right.
Judy, what's your number two?
The influence of Woodstock as a moment in rock history, and most particularly the artist who taught me to play the accordion with my teeth, Jimi Hendrix.
Yes!
Jimi Hendrix playing the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock.
This was a great version, but I think he kind of wimped out. He should have played all four verses, really, to make it
Or he should have had
authentic.
Roseanne with him. Yeah. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Okay. I was torn between this and the time, what wasn't it, Monterey, when he set the
Right.
accordion on fire?
No, that was me, Judy.
Oh, yeah, that was
Oh,
right.
yeah. Dweezil, what's your number two?
Well, you know, I can't really do this in an order of importance to my life or whatever, but I mean, I obviously would have to recommend that one of my choices is my father's whole career, basically. I mean, thank you. If you want to talk about, you know, rock and roll, I mean, in general, it was never thought of to be something that was mainstream in any way, and certainly he did nothing mainstream. His whole career, over 65 albums in 30 years, perhaps the most prolific rock musician, and not only just rock music, he was a composer, classical. He trained himself. He could do almost anything with any instrument, and the fact that he released his records independently for many, many years, owned the masters. He also defended musicians and the Constitution when he testified and spearheaded the, against the PMRC, against censorship of music in general. There's so many things in his career. I would just have to say, you know, basically my father is a great rock and roll moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, I bought a cheapo $25 turntable in college, and the only album it would play was Absolutely Free by Frank Zappa. I played it over and over and over. It drove my roommates crazy. It was great.
That's perfect.
Terrific. We have to take a short break right now, but don't be despondent, because when we come back, we'll get our panelists' number one choices and hear more from our viewers. So stay right where you are.